Tonight on Joy News Prime, Speaker of Parliament clashes with Majority Leader over petition by Unibank founder Dr. Kwabena Dufo and former UT Bank Chief Executive Prince Samabing requesting a restoration of their bank's licenses.
Also register that I disagree with the position that we want to take, but I believe that this is sub judice. That is my position. What I have done is to admit the petition. Can you quote any standing orders who says that Mr. Speaker cannot admit a petition of this nature?
Illegal mining operations are still impacting negatively on the country's water bodies and by extension affecting potable water supply to homes in Ghana.
Ghana Water has had on one or two occasions to close down the system in some areas because of the activities of these evil galamseyers.
In what is suspected to be another case of laughter and sour in the Volta regional capital, a 26-year-old man is accused of killing his girlfriend, after which he attempted to take his own life.
Killed the lady and attempted suicide based on what he intimated to us, that the lady was at the point cheating on him.
A new layer of security against terrorism introduced at the Kotoka International Airport as U.S. Ambassador to Ghana presents aviation security screening equipment for use at the airport.
The Ministry of Transport's first core value is safety and security. I can think of nothing more appropriate as we unveil this state-of-the-art screening equipment here today.
President Akufo-Addo says government has not frozen public sector salaries for the next 4 years.
Let me reiterate, the salary increments for public sector workers have not been frozen for the next 4 years.
My name is Joshua and Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Fanofa studios at Kokomlemle here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of fearless, credible, independent and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in.
Joy News Prime headline.
Illegal mining operations are still impacting negatively on the country's water bodies and by extension affecting potable water supply to homes in Ghana. Minister for Water and Sanitation Cecilia Dapa says though the proportion of rivers with quality water had increased from 39% in 2016 to 57.8% in 2019, it declined to 56.6% as a result of ongoing pollution by galamsey operators. She explains the situation compelled some water treatment facilities to shut down.
Sadly, our water ecosystems are not in a healthy state as we would like to have them. In our beloved country, it is common knowledge that illegal mining, galamsey, in particular, has affected the quality of water bodies, especially within the southwestern river system, which includes the Tano, Bia, and Cobra River basins, as well as the Pra Basin and its Ofin and Brim tributaries. Ghana Water has had on one or two occasions to close down the system in some areas because of the activities of these evil galamseyers. The proportion of rivers with fairly good ambient water quality or better at the end of 2016 was 39%. The proportion increased to 53% at the end of 2018, which was attributed mainly to the fight against illegal mining. The proportion further improved to 57.8% in 2019, but reversed to 56.6% at the end of 2020. The result is that the water intake facilities are partially or completely non-operational, which is a major public health and economic concern.
The Communications Director of GWCL, Stanley Mate, joins us on Zoom with the full extent of how pollution of the country's water bodies is affecting the operations. Thank you very much, Mr. Stanley Mate. We're learning some of your treatment facilities had to shut down due to the quality of raw water at their intake. How many homes were denied water as a result? Or in other words, how did this impact your ability to supply water to homes?
Okay, thank you very much, Israel. Our treatment plants are such that they serve a whole community, and they are situated within the communities or at the outskirts of the community. So in the event where we shut down the treatment plant, the entire community is affected. And so then there is no water at all, or sometimes we need to get some alternative. And for instance, in Chebi, we were fortunate, Chebi and Abidjan area, we were fortunate that we had some boreholes within the area. So then we mechanized the boreholes into the system, and then we served them with some water, but it was inadequate compared to what the treatment plant would have served them. Now, if you look at the Western region now, we haven't shut down Western region, but production has reduced to about 40%. Okay, so with the 40%, it's impacted negatively on the entire Sekedi Takoradi area, such that we are unable to serve the population. So we are forced to do demand management. And so we are doing all we can to distribute the little water equitably so that at least all of them can have some water. And it is not only in the Western region alone, but the upper West region, for instance, is also affected because the black water, where we abstract water for treatment, is also seriously affected. Now, let me also say that it is not only alluvial mining or galamsey alone that is causing challenges for us. The other forms of pollution, like sand winning, is making most of some of the river bodies very turbid, therefore making it difficult for treatment. So sand winning, industrial discharge or effluent, and then some farming activities are also impacting negatively. Now with the farming activities, the farmers are cutting down the trees that give our river bodies shade so that we'll have the rate of evaporation reduced. Unfortunately, they have exposed the river bodies, and so rate of evaporation is high, especially in times like this where climate change is having a toll on the entire nation. So what they also do is to farm along the banks of the river in the buffer zone. And what happens is that they also use inorganic chemicals in enriching the soil.
All right.
Anytime there are rains, it washes off the topsoil into the river bodies, thereby silting the river bodies. And then the chemicals within the sun also pollute the river bodies. And these make treatment very, very, very difficult and very expensive because we are forced to use more chemicals to bring it to the drinking water standards. So it isn't only galamsey.
All right.
But then there are other forms which is having a serious impact.
But clearly, you would say,
I would be happy if I had the chance to even mention the Volta region, the Volta River, because the Volta River currently is the only river body in Ghana that is less polluted. But in recent times, we are seeing a deterioration of the raw water, and it is as a result of aquaculture or fish farming ongoing along the entire stretch of the river.
How is that also affecting you?
What happens is that they are using inorganic feed in feeding their fishes. Now, they are droplets into the alluvial soil, and then they enrich the soil, thereby enhancing the growth of aquatic weeds like hyacinths, water hyacinths, and all that. Now, the water hyacinths change the taste of the raw water, and then they've also flowed downstream, especially into our intake area, because we have pumps that siphon or suck water whilst we abstract. And so instead of, for instance, clearing aquatic weeds like once in 2 years, like we used to do 5-10 years back, now almost every 2 weeks, we have had to hire divers to go deep down the river around our intake area to be clearing aquatic weeds, and it's creating a lot of challenges for the Ghana Water Company.
So yeah, you say that you're clearing the aquatic weeds, but one thing you said that struck me is the fact that you're saying that it is changing the taste of the water. Please clarify that.
You know, the aquatic weeds or weeds in general all have their own taste. You know that. So some of them are better, some of them they all have their taste. So the more they grow, the more they change the taste of the environment, especially because they grow in water. You understand what I mean?
All right.
And then,
you seem to have muted. If you're going to mute, Mr. Salimate. We can't hear you anymore, Mr. Mate. All right, we seem to be having some challenges with Mate. We'll try and resolve the line and see if we can get back to him. But we take you to Tanokrom, a farming community in the Techiman North District of the Bono East region, where access to potable water has over the years been a major challenge for the community. This was after the only source for the community dried up 10 years ago, forcing households to buy water from neighboring communities at much higher costs. Correspondent Anas Sabit visited the community and came through with this report.
Water is essential for the survival and productivity of all life and ecosystems. The value of water is about much more than its price. Water has enormous and complex values for our households, food, health, education, and the integrity of our natural environment. To the people of Tanokrom, a farming community under the Techiman North District of the Bono East region, water continues to be their scarcest commodity in their everyday life.
Tanokrom, in Sunkwana here. Me pensua, Manko Tanaboasia Kosansua.
Our major challenge is water. We have to travel to Tanaboasi or Chobodom for water.
Now here, in Sobuai.
We sometimes spend between 2 and 3 hours to the nearest Takwaja River to fetch water.
And yet 2 hours to 3 hours.
Anamfo Sente is the chief of Tanokrom. He says lack of water has over the years been the community's major challenge. Our major challenge is water. How can you live without water? The only water source for the people here dried up 10 years ago. Since then, the people here would have to buy water from neighboring Tanoboase community at 1 cedi 20 pesos per gallon. We end up spending the little we get in this village buying water.
12.
This jerrycan here is 1 cedi 20 pesos, and the barrel is 12 cedis.
12.
The situation, according to the people here, negatively affects their farming and economic activities.
Because we are youth now, person call anymore. I was saying, oh, you're now you're farming, and now you're running. I used
to rear pigs, but I stopped due to the absence of water.
It is, and so
our education, food, and almost everything. Esther is a caterer at the Tanoboase Basic School. She says there are days people here do not eat from the school feeding program due to the absence of water.
Sometimes
school kids, when we don't have access to a tricycle, we don't cook and they don't get water to drink too. Bathing daily, according to health authorities, help remove toxins, reduces stress, improves blood circulation, amongst others. However, the people here, including school-going kids, sometimes stay days without taking a bath due to the absence of water.
It's only hornity. Yeah, 2 days, and yes, I
sometimes go 2 days without a shower.
The 2 days, sure. It's a bit of 3 days, I mean,
Sometimes I go 3 days without bathing. School-going kids in this community are dropping out due to the absence of water. If we don't get water, our children will stop schooling. How can a child go to school without bathing? With the Sustainable Development Goal 6 focusing on the availability of clean water and sanitation for all, and as the world marks the World Water Day, the people here have one simple plea to authorities. All we need now is a source of drinking water.
Say yanya panyimfo pe na ka omama ensuo dia kaepe baabi omanya ensuo aso amaya tanokro ha kaepe. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Tanokro.
Right, and we have back on the line the Communications Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited. Thank you very much for rejoining us. Now, I was going to ask again about the quality of water, the taste of water that's been affected because of the activities along the Volta Lake. But after watching the story of Tanokrom, I don't want to even go to the question about taste. What options are available to communities such as these that don't have water, but they need water?
Okay, so let me explain this, that the water sector is such that we have rural water being managed by community water and then urban water being managed by the Ghana Water Company.
I pretty much understand that. I just want to know if you have any options.
Yes, so for us, we help some of these communities through our corporate social responsibility programs. And then with our low-income support unit, they also help some of these communities by drilling and mechanizing boreholes to support them. There are a number of communities like Tanokrom that we have supported. And so this one is in the Bono Ahafo region. I'll bring it up at our meetings and let's see whether we can support them. But we also find out from the community water because we serve on their board. So we find out from community water whether they already have plans for Tanokrom, and then whatever support we can offer, we will do that.
Okay, so I'll come back to the taste of the water. You were making the point that because of the activities along the Volta Lake, the taste of the water is changing, and so we should expect that. And if that has to stop, then it means the activities also have to stop.
Yes. So I took that from the from the premises of for Galamsey, and I said that it is not just about Galamsey alone that is polluting our water bodies, but these are also challenges that we are facing. Now, for us as Ghana Water Company Limited, every water that we produce from our treatment plant will have to meet two standards. That is the World Health Organization standards and that of the Ghana Standards Authority. Okay, now the Ghana Standards Authority standards is higher than that of WHO. But we make sure that we even do better than the standards for Ghana Standards Authority. So we have to work on the taste, the odor, stability and everything, and make sure that it meets the best of standards before we pump into the system. But what I'm saying is that if we have to do all that, it makes the cost of production very high. Okay, because we have to use a lot of chemicals to beat the taste, to clear odor, stability, and all that. So it makes cost of production very high, and then we are forced to
bill us more,
to push everything to PLC.
Okay, so you're going to be billing us more as a result. Thank you very much, Stanley Mate. He's the Communications Director of the Ghana Water Company. Moving on to other stories, he is a living example of the saying that when life throws lemons at you, you make lemonade out of them. 46-year-old Richard Nyako was a primary school dropout when he was jailed in 1997 for 24 years. After more than 20 years of prison life, he walks out of the Nsawam prisons as an author, an evangelist, and a degree holder. Maxwell Agbagba was at the Nsawam prisons the day he was released and has filed this report.
Richard Nyako, leader of the prison's choir and head pastor of the United Prisons Fellowship, leads the prisoners to sing here at the Nsawam prisons.
the joy of reconciling back to the family.
Oh, I think, yeah, they are. It is a bright morning at the Nsawam prisons. Nyaku has been released after 24 years in jail. He was 22 years when he walked through the gates here. Now, he is walking out as a 46-year-old man. It is an emotional scene as he begs me to take a picture of him and his siblings who are here to take him home. One of them is his sister, Patience, a nurse. She was only 5 years when Richard was jailed. She's now 29. No, she's 29.
29, yeah.
What's your name?
Patience.
How are you?
Patience.
Patience. Oh, okay. 24 years ago, what started as a normal day nearly ended with his death. He says a man he had met 2 weeks earlier had begged him to accompany him to sell a car. Unknown to him, it was a stolen car. He says the unavailability of petrol in the area where the incident happened is why he's alive today. As he was beaten by a mob with car ties put around his neck, ready to be set ablaze in Somanya.
So in the course of running, they suspected me as an armed robber or a criminal. And they hold on me. When they caught me, they decided to kill me.
To kill you?
Yes. In fact, they've beat me to the point of death. And they've also brought a tie, a car tie, old tie, and they put it on me. They tied me down and they put a tie on me. Wanted to set fire on me, and a police patrol passed by to rescue me.
He has some advice for young people.
If I knew my friend would vanish in the scene of arrest, I couldn't have followed him. So my advice is that the youth should be careful with whom become their friends.
Within the giant walls of the Nsawam prisons, Nyakum, who dropped out of primary school, acquired some education and now holds a bachelor's degree in biblical studies. He now speaks impeccable English and a full-time evangelist and an author. His book, From Grass to Grace, captures his tumultuous life journey. We are here at Promised Land in the Kantaman Nsawam medium prisons. Is going to meet his mother for the first time in 24 years. Family members and siblings of Richard Nyakum tell us that after he was incarcerated, they had to tell his mother that her son, favorite son, had traveled outside the country. They knew that she couldn't bear the pain and agony if they had told her that her son had been incarcerated. And today, they are heading to the home, and Richard Nyakum would reunite with his mother for the first time in 24 years.
No. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Nyakum's mother, who has not seen him for more than 20 years, could not hide her joy. She has hearing and speaking difficulties. One of her children offered to translate what she was saying.
What she says is that has really been a very long time. Every day we tell her that he's coming. He has cried and cried and cried. Now that he has come there, he thank God. And he's thank God that now she has seen her son.
Nyakum's brother Stephen Dawiti says they had to tell a lie to keep their mother alive to see this day.
You know her mother's condition. So she was there when our brother was arrested. So it became a problem. He wasn't eating. In fact, so at a point in time, we have to decide to save her life. So we told her that our brother has been released and that he has traveled abroad.
While in prison, Nyaku lost his wife and his child. He is hopeful of a new start and says he can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Maxwell Agbagba, Joy News.
Let's get on Zoom now and speak with lawyer Andruni Ajay Kate, my colleague Seth Kwambiwati, who has done a lot of journalistic work from the prisons. Now, ex-convict Richard Nyako is a great example of the reformation prison inmates are supposed to go through, except we don't seem to have many such examples. Do you agree?
I think so, Israel, and I'm happy we are telling Nyako's story. There are quite a number of other prisoners who have been released, but couldn't get the kind of training Nyako got from the prisons. And most of them, not their fault, because even the tools the officers need to help them reform, the kind of training they need, the kind of gadgets they need, they lack. Most of the prisons, they don't have. But thanks be to God and the University of Cape Coast, what they have started at in some prisons, the tertiary services they are providing. A number of inmates have taken advantage of that and they are getting trained. I can also remember the talented artist who was jailed in the Sunyani prisons years ago that got released following a piece I did on him. He was drawing in the prisons, and I remember following up to where he was around the Bunahafo area. I went to him, and he had taken over the town, painting everywhere. He had big contracts from churches and police stations. They're doing all those things that he learns more in the prisons. I think if we invest in prison reformation, we're going to get quite a number of them come out and be responsible citizens, so they do not go back to what actually took them to the prisons. But until we pay attention to that area, I'm afraid we're going to have just a few of them come out reformed and be good citizens.
Yeah, that's the thing. But are the prisoners themselves or the inmates themselves eager to take advantage of these opportunities?
Exactly. I remember when I went to UCC, when they were doing their matriculation, having their matriculation, quite a number. I think I've forgotten the exact figure, but quite a number of them had enrolled, and some were in their second year, I'm telling you. And interestingly, some are prison officers, some of the students, prison officers who face issues and got jailed. They have all taken advantage of that. And in fact, when you go to Tamale prisons, we have those who are weaving baskets, who are doing kente weaving in Ashanti region, who are into carpentry and all those things. But like I said, some are willing, especially those who know that they would be released in no time, or no matter what, they will still go back. They are taking advantage of that. But for those who are serving death penalty, condemn themselves, it's difficult because they are thinking they are going to be killed. So why should I avail myself for this to have such a training? After all, I will be killed. That's what I've been told. So they are not really enthused about that.
Sure. Let me get your thoughts on the same issue. Are we making enough progress as far as this is concerned? And Seth, I've had my time with you, so let me just go to your other, the gentleman on the line. So are we making enough progress with these issues?
It's very important that we first of all look at the theories of punishment. There are three basic theories. The first one is retribution, an eye for an eye, and that is why sometimes people are excited when people receive custodial sentences. There's also the issue of deterrence, to prevent, others and indeed the convict from repeating the same offense. But most importantly, and I think that is an element that we mostly forget in Africa, is the theory of reformation. Fortunately for us in Ghana, in somewhere in 2015, the Ghana Prison Service came out with their 10-year strategic plan. And under this strategic plan included the fact that the prison service felt that there was a need to incorporate in all of these training and in all of these services they are rendering to the public, the issue of learning. And I'm sure that is what informed, the UCC intervention policy. And that is why we are seeing so many persons, including the gentleman that we just saw, taking advantage of the facilities that the prison service would offer. Now, in terms of whether or not there's enough patronage of this, we would need to look at the caliber of persons that indeed, unfortunately, find themselves under custodial sentence. Even though everybody is a potential criminal and everybody may potentially go behind bars, most of those that you realize find themselves in these situations are persons who may not necessarily have the basic skills or even the basic education for them to want to build upon. And that may explain why we do not necessarily have so many of them patronizing some of these programs.
All right.
Then again, the challenges in the prison, the congestion, the inadequacy in meals, all those other treatments would of course be a major impediment or standing block in the path of these persons. And according to the Maslow theory of needs, somebody who has not been able to receive a full 3 square meals in a day is unlikely to want to get involved in any of these programs, which would benefit in future and not at the moment.
Sure. All right. Thank you very much, Nia-J Kate, lawyer Nia-J Kate, as well as the Seth Kwame Boateng, who joined us earlier, for your time. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking it, but still ahead in the bulletin, in what is suspected to be another case of laughter and sun, the Volta regional capital. A 26-year-old man is accused of killing his girlfriend, after which he attempted to take his own life.
Killed the lady and attempted suicide based on what he intimated to us, that the lady was at the point cheating on him.
Well, in business, a new layer of security against terrorism introduced at the Kotoka International Airport as the U.S. ambassador to Ghana presents aviation security screening equipment for use.
The Ministry of Transport's first core value is safety and security. I can think of nothing more appropriate as we unveil this state-of-the-art screening equipment here today.
Stay tuned in, we'll be back in a bit.
Hello, welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. A new layer of security against terrorism has been introduced at the Kotoka International Airport. Of course, the U.S. ambassador to Ghana presented the aviation security screening equipment for use at Terminal 3. Here's more. The U.S. ambassador to Ghana presented a new aviation security screening equipment for use at the Kotoka International Airport. Speaking at an event to present the equipment, the ambassador reveals that the gesture, which falls under the Anti-Terrorism Assistance Program of the U.S., is to aid anti-terrorism and arms trafficking surveillance in Ghana.
The state-of-the-art security equipment includes 1 body scanner and 9 explosives and narcotics trace detectors. With operator training already complete, this technology is now officially available for approved Ghanaian airport security officials to utilize at the passenger checkpoint for all outbound flights departing via Terminal 3.
Transport Minister Kwaku Oforia-Siama says the government is investing heavily in screening and security surveillance to ensure the Kotoka International Airport remains the safest in the sub-region.
Safety and security are priority of the aviation sector. Sustaining the industry requires not only safety regulatory measures, but also robust security systems both on the ground and in the air. In other words, our transport must always be safe and secure to ensure its reliability and safety for the traveling public. Aviation remains a symbolic target for terrorists who seek to attack aircraft, airports, and aviation facilities to inflict mass casualties, cause economic disruption and public fear.
The U.S. and Ghanaian officials commissioned one body scanner and 9 explosives and narcotics trace detectors at the passenger checkpoint for outbound flight inside the KIA Terminal 3. The Anti-Terrorism Assistance Program is the U.S. government's premier counterterrorism training and equipment for foreign law enforcement agencies. Now, a banking consultant, Noto Achampon, thinks that Parliament must allow the courts to decide on the revocation of UT and Unibank licenses. He tells Joy Business that it may not be prudent for Parliament to institute another review when the case is already in court.
Yes, I think that is something that, it should have been aware that once a case is in court, allow the court process to finish before, if it can is to be raised, it can be raised. So once the case is in court, we have to leave it to the court of competent jurisdiction to arrive at the decisions that they have to arrive at. So I think it was premature to have made that attempt to petition Parliament, but then it's within one's human rights to do what one feels is right. So let's wait to see what the courts come up with, and then you move on from there.
Now, Ghana's total earnings from exports have been hit hard by COVID-19. Latest Bank of Ghana figures show that earnings declined $2.5 billion compared to what was realized during the same period last year. But how much of a worry could this be? George Rafi has more.
What the country secured in the first 2 months of this year is about $300 million short of what Ghana got in the first 2 months of 2020. This can be attributed to declining prices of commodities on the international market, like gold and cocoa, that are yet to pick up from the pre-pandemic levels as a result of lockdowns and economies yet to open up fully because of the COVID restrictions. The immediate impact of this will be on the international reserves, which will affect the amount of hard currencies available to finance our imports if this trend should continue. It may also not be good for the city's fortunes or firm stability going forward, as these earnings are needed to act as a buffer to firmly stabilize the Ghana city. And also at the time that we need these revenues badly to finance deficit and rising interest payment, this can be described as worrying. The country's international reserves, according to the Bank of Ghana, has also declined to $8.7 billion compared to $10 billion in February 2020. This will cover 4.2 months of import cover. Another development that could be described as not so good when it comes to stabilizing the economy in these COVID times. On the other side, the country spent about $2.2 billion to finance our imports compared to the same period for last year. This showed that our import bill has gone up by some $202 million compared to the same period for last year. But despite these challenges, the country still recorded a trade balance of $339 million ending February this year, which can be described as somehow comforting. Business and consumer confidence is still struggling to pick up strongly, as data from the Bank of Ghana showed that it is slightly below compared to February 2020.
That'll be all for business. Sport is up next with Gary L. Smith to stay.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. I'm Gary L. Smith with the sport. We are still building up to that Black Stars game against South Africa, and ahead of that, Siki Akono anticipates a difficult task against his opponent on Thursday. Despite the difficulty expected, he is confident of a good performance without the core members of the playing body, including skipper Andre Ayew.
The senior national team, the Black Stars, held their final training session ahead of their trip to South Africa to face Bafana on March Day 5 of the 2022 African Cup of Nations qualifiers. Head coach of the team, Siki Akono, will be without the services of influential players such as the Ayew brothers, Thomas Partey, and many others. However, he insists he prepared his team, knowing very well that they will not be available for the encounter slated for later this week.
At least today, we were sure of the squad. Everybody, has come, and so we prepared very well, adequately, knowing that the match ahead of us, a tough one, but we're very, very hopeful. Well, we were aware from the beginning, say a bad day, one, Whether we'll be able to get them, we don't know. But we are aware that the possibility is there. We will not go with them. And so we prepared ourselves without them. Should they come in, it will be fantastic. But we are without them, and we've done so well in that area. We've worked. And so we don't have much of worries.
About 10 home-based players will be making the trip to South Africa for the qualifier. Akuno says he is willing to give players who ply their trade domestically the opportunity of playing for the national team.
I said from the beginning that I'm going to give the locals the chance, or the home-based players. Local is too much of home-based players, and I think it's clear. I think for a long time now, we've not had this amount of numbers, and so I'm very, very happy that we've been able to achieve that. Not just me, because the boys have also shown their qualities, and we've given them a fair chance.
The Black Stars could book a ticket to next year's AFCON should they secure a win come Thursday.
Still on the AFCON qualifiers, the Cameroonian FA made an administrative error, according to reports, when they sent an email to the wrong address in their bid to have Bayern Munich striker Maxim Choupo-Moting join the indomitable Lions for the last hurdle of the AFCON qualifiers against Cape Verde and Rwanda. My colleague Bernard Elom has more. And that's it for this batch of sport. I'm Gary Alsmith. Thank you for listening.
Right, time for Showbiz, and Becky Bex is here. Hello, Bex.
Hello to you, Izzy. How you doing?
I'm well. I like your hair.
Oh, thank you. I wear it for you this week.
Okay.
Because of you. But let's talk about Manifest. He's been, away for a very long time. Today he was on JN Interactive with Mapito Sibidi, and he's been talking about 2020. 2020 was very bad for everybody.
Yeah, a tough year for a lot of people.
But he said that it was a good one for him. And he has a new one out featuring Vic Mensa. Vic Mensa has been signed on to Jay-Z's record label. Let us add that one to that.
Okay.
So he's the song is No Fears, and he's been talking, around that one as well. So Manifest right there. Yeah. So Jamie Foxx, he will be playing Mike Tyson in a series, a new exclusive series. So back in 2020, last year, he was on a show, and he gave an exclusive first scene, like the opening scene of what viewers
will look like.
Should expect.
That's a great description of the movie.
I'm telling you,
it makes you want to see it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to somebody who can play somebody here, Azuma Nelson, maybe, Let's do something, Ghanaians.
He described it so well.
So well.
He described it so well, yeah.
Dude, he won an Oscar.
Anyway. Okay, thank you very much, Becky Beck, for bringing us.
I hate to leave you. I hate to leave you.
But I'll see you when I'm off.
Okay,
great. So don't go yet.
Sure, please.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Becky Bex. And we have more news. Stay tuned in. President Akufo-Addo has appealed to the leadership and members of the Trades Union Congress and organized labor to assist government in the country's post-COVID-19 economic recovery efforts. Speaking at the 11th Quadrennial Congress of the Trades Union Congress on Tuesday, President Akufo-Addo stressed that at the height of the pandemic, government instituted several measures and interventions to lessen the impact of COVID-19 on lives and livelihoods. These measures, he says, sustained the economy, restored some lost jobs and incomes, whilst opening windows for new opportunities for others. He says the time has now come for us to take the next set of actions required for the sustained recovery of the economy. But he indicated that government had not taken a decision to freeze wage increases for public sector workers.
Pandemic. Government instituted several measures and interventions to lessen the impact of COVID-19 on our lives and livelihoods. These measures sustain the economy, restore some lost jobs and incomes, whilst opening windows of new opportunities for others. The time has now come for us to take the next set of actions required for the sustained recovery of the economy. Some of the measures have been outlined in the 2021 budget statement and economic policy of government that was presented to Parliament on 12th March and approved by the House last Friday, 19th March. This statement appears to contain some difficult but very necessary causes of action, as evidenced by reactions from some quarters. I understand the concerns being expressed, especially with regards to imposition of some new taxes. However, as has been stated by the Secretary General, let me reiterate, the salary increments for public sector workers have not been frozen for the next whole year. The truth of the matter is that we're not in normal times, and I appeal to all Ghanaians, including organized labor, to assist government in this endeavor to help rebuild our public finances and economy. We need to mobilize additional resources to cater for the new challenges confronting us, whilst meeting other statutory requirements. I therefore urge all Ghanaian workers to bear with government in these unusual and rather challenging times. I'm confident that sooner rather than later, and together, we can create the happy, progressive, and prosperous nation we all desire.
Speaker of Parliament Abdul Bagbin Tuesday clashed with the majority leader over the admission of a petition by the founder of Unibank, Dr. Kwabena Dufo, and CEO of UT Bank, Prince Kofi Amwabeng, requesting Parliament to investigate circumstances leading to the revocation of their licenses by the Bank of Ghana. The petition, which was presented on the floor by Boku Central MP Mama Yarga, faced stiff resistance from the majority, as Okaikoi Central MP Patrick Yabuama and Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre, who argued it should not have been entertained. Things got to a head when the majority leader of Sechemin Sabosu got involved and questioned the basis for admitting the petition.
The brief period that I've been here, and you have related to some discussions that I had with you outside the chamber. And you said you would disagree with the position that I took. I must also register that I disagree with the position that you want to take. But I believe that this is sub judice. That is my position. But you have made a statement to the effect that it must be referred to a committee to make some proposals. So perhaps we will leave it at that. But I disagree with the position that you have taken. The Speaker, I agree. Majority Leader, what I have done is to admit the petition. Can you quote any standing orders who says that Mr. Speaker cannot admit a petition of this nature? Then we move on. And when you disagree with Mr. Speaker, you know the right thing to do. I don't want to assume powers I don't have. By the reading of the standing orders and the Constitution, I don't have those powers to be disallowing petitions just because I have the discretion to admit or not to admit. I must be guided by law, rule of law.
The Speaker subsequently directed that a 7-member committee be set up to probe the petition and submit its report to the House for consideration.
Up a committee to go into the petition and then report to the House. And then the House will then have the opportunity to deliberate on it, because the report of the committee will come in the form of a motion, and then we can debate it. If at the end of the day we get the sense that there's a matter pending, we will be guided by the contents of the speeches that members will make on the floor, and that is the time that we can now apply Order 93. I'm very clear in my mind about this.
The Onwe Government Hospital in the Ashanti region has had to treat emergency cases under a makeshift structure, which recently saw severely ill patients on admission exposed to gushing rainwater. Though management has since patched the exposed roofing sheet, the emergency unit made of wood and plastic depicts the dire need of patients for better service delivery. Live Films Erastus Asaridonko visited the hospital to assess the situation there.
For a hospital meant to serve a population of about 33,000, the facility is handicapped. The 40-bed facility is saddled with inadequate medical staff and wards, as well as lack of basic medical tools like slit lamps for eye examination, X-ray equipment, and incubators. The only official vehicle is this rickety pickup truck, which has been suspended on wooden stumps for years. The hospital is compelled to use this uncompleted maternity ward with no theatre. In cesarean emergencies, mothers in delivery are wheeled for close to half a mile across this street to the general theatre for surgery. In a bid to meet the urgent demand for emergency care, management constructed this makeshift structure to serve as an emergency unit. It is made of wood and covered with plastic TNG. It can only take 4 beds and has little room for maneuver. On March 5th this year, a storm ripped off the makeshift roofing, exposing severely ill patients to the vagaries of the weather. This video of a patient on admission being lashed by the rains details the plight of the hospital. The Ejiso Municipal Health Director, Josephine Amejake Ahosu, spoke about challenges of the Omni Hospital.
If you are talking about a modern hospital, I would say they don't have it. So it needs a lot of infrastructure development. The structure we are even talking about, the emergency, I don't know for how long it will serve because it's not a structure, it's not a permanent structure. When you go to the place, you realize that they have plywood, as a demarcation and all that. Even their sewage problem, water and sanitation and wash things. Even if they have to do CS, they bring the patient from the maternity to the old place where the theater is. After doing the operation, the patient stays there in the recovery ward for some time, before a day or two, before the patient is returned to the maternity block. And that will not be the ideal thing that we expect.
Though the leaking roof, which caused rainwater to fall on patients at the emergency ward, has been patched, the emergency ward itself, which is a makeshift structure, waits for another thunderstorm until a befitting structure is constructed for the Omni Government Hospital to serve as an emergency unit. We are sitting on a time bomb for another disaster. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Omni, Ashanti region.
The Home Municipal Police Command has begun investigations into the murder of a 25-year-old lady in the Volta Regional Capital home in what is suspected to be another case of love turned sour in the region. Jay Dodoye, 26, was alleged to have slit the throat of his girlfriend Harriet Kafui Ahiati in the late hours of Monday before attempting suicide. There's more in this report.
The Home Municipal Police Command has begun investigations into the alleged murder of a 25-year-old lady in the Volta Regional Capital who Jay Dodoye, a footballer, reportedly murdered 25-year-old Harriet Kafui Ahiati, his girlfriend, and later attempted to take his own life. The 26-year-old also slit his throat and stabbed himself in the stomach twice, but did not die. Mr. Dodoye is currently being treated at the Volta Regional Hospital after he was arrested by the Home Municipal Police Command. The Home Municipal Commander, Superintendent Anthony Danso, has been speaking to Joy News on their findings so far.
The administration visited the theater and met Anthony Dodoye. Especially on him, with a deep cut on the throat, with the intestines gashed out. Because it is a hospital facility, we were unable to do in-depth investigation. We will only interview him about what actually happened. And during the interview, he made it known to the police that there were some issues between him and the girlfriend, who is now deceased. So we went further to ask him that was it because of the issue that caused the death of the disease and the injury to him. He was unable, because he was in deep pain and we didn't want to go further. But the hospital administration also didn't want us to go further to ask questions because of his condition. So at the moment, putting the pieces together from the spot investigation in the room and the interview we had with him, we are of the opinion that maybe he might have killed the lady and attempted suicide, based on what he intimated to us, that the lady was at the point cheating on him. So that is where we are afraid. We are still investigating on that. As he gets better, we pray that he gets better so that we can get more information from him and get to.
This comes less than 2 weeks after a level 300 student of the Evangelical Presbyterian University College died after she was allegedly assaulted by her boyfriend. The boyfriend, Kuma Philip Caesar, aged 31, according to sources, has been assaulting the deceased for some time now.
The year 2020 saw the least number of pregnant women dying in an attempt to give birth. According to the Family Health Division of the Ghana Health Service, the 779 deaths is the lowest on record. The feat was despite the COVID-19 pandemic, which the authorities feared could reverse efforts to reduce maternal deaths. Judith Otwe-Tando reports from the annual performance review session of the division.
At the annual performance review held by the Family Health Division, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma-Abuaje, explained that the division anticipated a rise in maternal mortality in 2020.
I think the anticipated negative impact was that we're going to have a high maternal mortality. We're going to have a reduction in antenatal and skilled delivery. And nutrition was going to be affected because of the poverty that COVID was obviously going to impact on by spoiling people's businesses.
It, however, turned out to be the best year as far as maternal mortality is concerned. Dr. Abuaje explains it took a lot of effort considering the ravages of the pandemic.
The number of women who came to deliver had actually gone up. And at the same time, they recorded the Ghana, actually, I would say Ghana, because family health and maternal mortality is a multi-sectorial approach, recorded the lowest ever maternal mortality we've had, recording 779 maternal deaths in the whole year, but that's about the lowest we have ever recorded. Usually about 900, 1,000, or the highest is about 820 something. So I think the early anticipation and the strategy had actually helped in stemming the tide of the challenge that we had. Obviously, for children, immunization, etc., had a slight decline. But by and large, in the entire sector, that RMNCH actually showed resilience even within the COVID era.
He further stated that moving forward, the Family Health Division would ensure services relating to newborn care would be strengthened.
The Family Health Division managed to do an emergency obstetric care and newborn care assessment across the country, visiting over 1,700 facilities. Any facility that did 5 deliveries or more in a month was assessed. And that is going to give us a lot of information as to where the gaps are on how to strengthen services using the IMONC assessment. And so, apart from going through all that, you're going to help us in developing our strategic plan on how to address the gaps that were found across the country using that assessment.
The Ghana Health Service at the event also awarded the Director General as well as some retirees, celebrating them for their hard work. Judith Awotritando, Joy News.
Did you know the Ghanaian soldiers were among the few peacekeeping troops who continued to stay in Rwanda during the 1994 massacre in which close to 1 million people died? Well, Ghana remains special in the heart of many Rwandese for that show of courage, even after UN and other foreign forces rescued their own and abandoned the country, as some Rwandans put it. In a series projecting the Rwandan story, Lessons for Ghana and Africa, we begin with that of a survivor who was 9 years old and now mans the Kigali Genocide Memorial. Head of Security Desk Give to Andrew Apia has more.
Pictures of those who were killed, from babies to old men and women, hung on a wall inside the Kigali Genocide Memorial. Alongside these pictures are bones and skulls. The Genocide Memorial is one of over 200 dotted across Rwanda, carrying the remains of nearly 1 million people, many of whom were butchered to death.
Hassan Ngeze, who was a famous journalist, he said that we say to the cockroaches. So this is the step of the dehumanization.
Dion was 9 years old when the genocide started.
So my family was in that group of people who were surrounding the pyramid. So
today, he is taking a Ghanaian delegation around the Kigali Genocide Memorial. This tour includes a highly emotional video of survivors, how they narrowly escaped death, how their families were killed, and what this memorial means to them. Also, there is a wreath-laying ceremony and telling the entire story of the genocide. For Dion, this is work he's been doing since 2010. It gives him some closure, having lost his family to the genocide. His task is to take visitors through the history of Rwanda, the institutionalization of tribal divisions, and eventually how people started killing their neighbors, friends, and even spouses, amidst, as he puts it, a deliberate attempt to have HIV-infected men rape women to ensure they die slowly and to eliminate a generation.
So they needed to make sure that the Tutsi generation will never emerge again. So very young kids were targeted, and they then selected women who married Tutsi. Those you can understand, majorly they are Hutus, who married Tutsi men, and they were being raped. And of course, we have also the Tutsis women who were also being raped, and they were selecting HIV-positive militia to kill, to rape them and just leave them for long-term consequences. And this is what the government is dealing with.
Bodies of those women, men and children littered in mass graves across the country have been exhumed and reburied here. The clothes and personal belongings on them the day they were killed are also lined up here. A stark reminder that the days on which they were killed felt like any other ordinary day. The history as told here at the memorial indicates the UN forces left as French soldiers also failed to rescue Tutsis who were being butchered and sometimes buried alive. Ghanaian soldiers, however, led by General Henry Kwame Anyidoho, stayed on. Rwandans like Dion have not forgotten those Ghanaian soldiers.
The UN forces decided to leave the country. More than 2,000 people left. Only few African volunteers who decided to not leave the country. Ghanaians Nigerians, few. We were very well treated by Ghanaians. Soldiers, they showed that love, that human heart, and they are my heroes. Sometimes I don't remember some names, but we remember the Ghanaians as young kids, being fed by them, being protected, being loved. In their eyes, you can see that humanity.
For many who know the Rwandan story, it is the role of the media and how politicians contributed money to spur on propaganda against one ethnic group that stands out and must never happen again in any African country. As Rwanda opens up its economy to Ghana, it seems the country wants to say thank you, not only to the soldiers, but to the entire population, but at the same time to say, learn from our painful experience. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Kigali, Rwanda.
Hello, welcome back to business. More than 300,000 businesses risking losing their status as legally registered to operate in Ghana. That's if they fail to update their data with the Registrar General's Department by June this year. The Registrar General has issued a final warning to the dormant firms that have failed to comply by the requirement for registration of firms in the country. Jemma Mawari explains to Joy Business why this exercise is very important.
Between 1963 to now, many businesses in Ghana, and I'm talking about big businesses in Ghana, have not bothered to do this re-registration. So what they are telling me is they've not also filed annual returns. And under the laws, I can go ahead and dissolve you. And that's what I want to do now. I want to kickstart that process of dissolving and taking dormant companies off my register. So if you know you are not dormant, if you know you are seriously doing business in Ghana, then please come and inform me whether you are still operating in Ghana by filing your annual return and your financial statement. If for any reason you haven't even done business since 1963 to date, no problem. We file what we call a nil return because the historical database is about 700,000. Less than 10% have done the re-register. In law, if I finally dissolve you and strike your name off the register, you cannot carry on business in Ghana again until 12 years. But I cannot just dissolve a company name just like that. Do what you have to do.
Now, the National Institute of Information Technology has launched its 2021 COVID-19 Hackathon competition. Now, the hackathon seeks to improve communication during this and other medical emergencies and, of course, encourage participants to focus on problem solving. Here's more. We had to move to other stories because about 10 trade unions have disassociated themselves from a court injunction being pursued by a section of traders in the Kumasi Central Market to halt the Cherry Development Project. Here's more.
Some traders at the Kumasi Central Market last Friday went to the Human Rights Court praying for an injunction to restrict the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly from demolishing about 1,500 lockable shops occupied by the applicants. They are also praying to court to force KMA to properly document their relocation to avoid future implications. But some trade unions are unhappy with the move by their colleagues.
We wish to set the record straight.
They believe the act will impede the progress of the Kumasi redevelopment projects. Leader of the 10 unions, Moses Che, spoke to Love News.
For just some few people, whatever reasons, to wake up in the day, to go and secure an injunction depriving the assembly and the country as a whole not to proceed with this project is something that is unheard of. In fact, we must think about the entirety or the bulk traders that are in the central market. So this morning, the purposes and the reason that we held this press conference is to first disassociate ourselves with the 10 groups that were part of the central market trade union, and also to let all Ghanaians and the world at large understand that we are in for the progress of our people.
Some traders who are yet to access space to restart their trade say they will not support the court action.
The KMA should give us an official statement showing where they will move us to.
We are deliberating on the issue as a union, and KMA has given us a place to trade.
We are yet to consider whether to accept the place or not, and you said you are taking the matter to court. We can't take KMA to court because we also like the construction of the new market.
Kofi Asare's report read to you.
Now, most upcoming entrepreneurs often face the challenge of lack of finances for the startups. To help solve this challenge in the Upper West region, a local solar company, Northlight Solar, has introduced a business model designed to reach at least 500 startups each and every year with the capital and technical support. The business model, dubbed Hub 500, has already taken off, with 5 startups receiving $500 grant each. Here's more.
Hub 500 intends to reach and support 500 startups every year with financial and technical support. The idea is to develop social entrepreneurs, develop economic streams, and impact lives, particularly in the Upper East region. In this month of March, Hub 500 invited interested startups to pitch their business ideas in order to be selected and supported with grants. In all, 42 startups registered, and 14 of them were selected for the pitching. Here are some of the entrepreneurs sharing their business ideas and how funding was going to help them.
We design unisex apparel, which is made from the hand-woven smock fabric from the Upper East region of Ghana. And this is just one aspect of some of my designs, which is a throw pillowcase that individuals can use in their homes, hotels, for hospitality. And with this is a shaz that can be used for graduation, matriculation. The funding I will get from Hub 500, I will push that into my business because I look at putting out my cultural heritage beyond Ghana.
Giving birth, you need some basic needs, which include natural shea butter with Negro pepper, which will help give the shea butter 9 cents and also help in the healing of the wound. Most of the times, people don't use containers, this rubber one, for a bathing of the baby, which I realized that it's not all that good. You need clay bowl. So I want to make it in bulk, like in package. Like you come, you get your natural shea butter to buy. You get your clay bowl, and also your baby, what your baby will be wearing.
And Unsoft is a software development company. We have 3 products on offer now. The first one is a School DB. So the School DB is an educational software that enables basic schools keep records and communicate with parents easily. One of the main features of School DB is the flexibility in payment of school fees through the mobile money platform. Another thing we hope to do in future is to evolve into a learning platform due to the lessons we've learned from coronavirus.
At the end of the pitching, 5 startups were selected and awarded $500 grants, approximately 3,000 Ghana cedis each. The investment structure varied for each startup, allowing for part cash and part technical assistance. For instance, one entrepreneur may be given 1,500 Ghana cedis cash, and depending on their need, a website would be designed for their business. Nora Seidu is the facility manager at Hub 500.
Per the poster on the pitch cap, we decided to award only one winner. But then, as you all know, that our 500 is here to identify potential business startups. So the team of Hub 500 has decided to add 4 promising business. We know that when we support them with investment, they would grow and make their dreams come to a reality.
The startups which won the grants were also subscribed to a Hub 500 module which allows office spaces for businesses. Upon subscription, entrepreneurs are given some space with internet access to do their office work, discuss ideas with other entrepreneurs, or even have business meetings. Managers of Hub 500 say They will open calls 4 times every year to allow startups to apply for the opportunity to pitch their business ideas and win grants. For Joy News, Albert Sori, Bolgatanga.
And I'm Charles Ayete, ended the business news. Sports is up next with Gary L. Smith this day.
Well, time now for the sport, the second batch. I'm Gary L. Smith. The Black Stars are expected to arrive in Johannesburg in the next few hours ahead of match day 5 of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. They play South Africa. The Stars sit at the top of Group C with 9 points after 4 games and are in search of a ticket to the 2022 AFCON in Cameroon. The 4-time African champions will play the match on Thursday before hosting Sao Tome and Principe in Accra next week, Monday. After their final training session at the Accra Stadium, GFA president charged the team to go for all 6 points.
We all know that we are in very, very difficult times, very, very difficult, for which reason some of your colleagues have been unable to be here. But we are grateful that all of you have made it possible for us to meet. We have 2 more games in front of us, and from these 2 games, we have to be part of the best assembly on the African continent when we speak about football. So from the 2 games, we have to qualify. But qualification starts from the very first game in South Africa, for which reason in the last 4 weeks, we have been preparing for this all-important 2 assignments. When we march out of the tunnel to face the Bafana, let's all have one thing in mind: qualification. What that means is that whatever it takes for us to come out with the right result, we have to make the necessary effort. We wholly believe in the quality of the Tinkara team we have. We believe in your quality. Obviously, that's the reason why you are here. And we believe that you have what it takes to take Ghana to the promised land. To show our seriousness, our own and the very fresh, he's the freshest sports minister we have in Ghana. In fact, he's the only one. Or is there any other one? No. He's the freshest sports minister. And in the last few days that he's been in office, he has shown beyond reasonable doubt that he has the can-do attitude and spirit. He's been very, very supportive of our preparatory period up to today. And he's going to be supportive until we deliver that AFCON ticket to our dear country.
Away from football, you did see the Youth and Sports Minister, the Honorable Mustafa Usif. He's charged the national powerlifting team to win more medals in this year's Powerlifting World Cup, which starts in Manchester on Thursday. There's more in this report by Joy Sports.
The 2021 Powerlifting World Cup, which comes off in Manchester from March 25 to 28, will serve as qualification to this summer's Paralympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. The national powerlifting team has been in camp since February this year. The Black Optimists paid a courtesy call on Youth and Sports Minister before they left Ghana for England on Monday night. Honorable Mustafa Usif is confident the team will make Ghana proud.
We know you are going to go and come back home with medals. Ghana is known. Ghana is known to be a sports nation, a sports country in most of the discipline, be it para, be it boxing, be it athletics. We do so well in all sports discipline. So we are not going to be surprised at all. I'm very confident that you are living the shores of this country, and you are going to come back home with gold medals. And you also will lift our flag high.
Samson Dean is president of the Ghana Paralympic Committee.
Yeah, I think today is our happiest moment. For the first time, a team within the disability front, the Paralympic movement, have gotten the opportunity to meet with the minister. I know most of you sports journalists are aware of the discriminations, and fortunately for Ghana, since I became the president of the MPC, we are lucky to have been chosen as the country, as one of the 3 countries in Africa to fight against sports, against stigma. Currently, Ghana is leading when it comes to the fight against sports, against stigma, where with this, I know that Berlin and Bonn will be so happy. That's the IPC, will be so happy to see that there has been a change in the front.
The national powerlifting team won a bronze medal in last year's edition of the Powerlifting World Cup. They are confident they will win more medals for Ghana in Manchester.
Head coach of the Black Bombers, Ofori Asare, is proud to have secured 3 slots for Ghana at the Tokyo Olympics. He tells Joy Sports it is a sign the appointment team made the right decision because Ghana had only 1 boxer at the last Olympics.
I feel ecstatic. I can't even have words to explain it. I'm very happy, and if maybe we have more other boxes to it means we have been able to cut our net widely, and going to a big platform like the Olympics Games, when you have more boxes, it gives you a chance of at least the balloting, because you may have a boxer, but when you don't get very good balloting, it will be very difficult for you to win a medal. So if it doesn't happen to 1, maybe it will happen to 2 and 3. So when you have a good number going to the Olympics Games, it's very, very good, and I enjoy that. Especially also the one point that I want to make clear is that first I was out from the national team, and last Olympics I wasn't part of it, and the qualification was only one boxer. So when I was called back, and now that we've qualified 3, it makes me feel that those who brought me back have been able to at least work to prove that they didn't make a mistake for bringing me back to take the national team. So that are some of the things that I'm very, very happy about.
That's the sport for now. Thank you for your time. I'm Gary Alson.
Right, and that'll be it for the bulletin. My name is Israel Lai, and Evans Mensah is up next with PM Express. Do stay tuned in.